WJZ TV, Baltimore.
Good evening, everyone. Debbie Wright is on vacation. It's been a day of crime in Baltimore. Tonight, Baltimore City Police are still searching for 4 men who cut their way out of city jail and escaped into the darkness last night. One of the escapees, that is a suspect in the brutal murder of a Pimlico couple earlier this year. And Dave Paulson has more.
Police say the 4 inmates could have walked out the front gate. It's possible, but not likely. It would have been the last of several barriers between them and the city streets. Originally, it was felt that only 3 inmates had escaped. After a recount later, they realized 4 had gone, apparently escaping through a window on the west side of the city jail.
They discovered that the bars had been cut with some sort of instrument. They haven't been able to locate that right now. And they escaped by, we assume, going across the roof and down the tower wall and through the gate area.
Still at large tonight, 31-year-old Moses Taylor, suspected bank robber, being held on 24 separate warrants. 27-year-old George Miller, also a suspected bank robber, being held on 2 federal warrants. 24-year-old Kevin Johnson in jail on failure to appear charges. And the 4th escapee, Marvin Booth. The 29-year-old Booth is one of 4 adults awaiting trial for the May 20th stabbing death of 2 elderly Pimlico residents, Irvin and Rose Bronstein, both in their 70s at the time. Booth's wife was later charged as an accessory after the fact. The Booths and the Bronsteins were neighbors. It was a particularly gruesome crime. One city police homicide detective, Donald Steinheis, investigated.
We are all very interested in getting them, and if there's any way anybody sees them, has any contact with them, or any information, they can call the police department emergency number or the phone number here at Homicide, 396-2721.
And the search, which began last night when the breakout was discovered around 8:30, continues.
The areas where they're frequent, they will be kept under surveillance, and hopefully we'll get a crack at them that way.
In East Baltimore, with Instant Eye, David Paulson, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
And police tell us they have no reason to connect those escapees with any of the multiple crimes which occurred overnight. At the Maryland State Pen, police were called to the prison for another reason: murder. A 40-year-old inmate, Charles Lincoln Sneed, was found strangled in his cell. Homicide detectives explain what they found.
The victim was found lying face down in his cell at about 11:05. The subject was pronounced dead on the scene. Investigation revealed through this office, coupled with examination by the medical examiner, revealed that the same died as a result of strangulation and beating.
He was convicted in 1982 of murder and had an extensive criminal record. Police continue their investigation but have no suspects at this time. City police were called to the 3400 block of Liberty Heights Avenue, where the body of a young woman was found lying on church grounds. Police say the woman was apparently shot in the head, and they suspect sexual abuse. A neighbor contacted police when he saw the body from his home.
I just looked out across, in the area immediately in front of me, and I saw what appeared to me to look like someone laying over here on the church grounds. She was still totally no movement, didn't seem to be any life at all.
Police believe a 21-year-old Beatrice Taylor, the mother of a 3-year-old, may have been killed last night when area residents report hearing a gunshot, but they need your help. If you have any information, call City Homicide Detectives at 396-2721. That's 396-2721. Another overnight murder has shocked residents of a Pimlico neighborhood. An elderly woman was stabbed to death and her house set afire to conceal the crime. The victim was Cora Jones, about 72. Known throughout the neighborhood as Mama Cora, she lived alone with her dog in this house at 4805 Homer Avenue in Pimlico. Last night, an intruder entered her house, stabbed her in the chest, and then set fire to the home to cover up the murder. Passers-by saw the fire, broke into the house, and carried her outside. Practically everyone here in the neighborhood knew there was a fire here last night, but what they did not know is that the woman was murdered. And when I told them of it, they were shocked. Are you aware that she was stabbed to death?
No. No, I wasn't aware of that. She was stabbed.
Mama Cora was described as a nice woman who was constantly helping others. Did you know her to have any grudges or anyone to have a grudge against her?
No, she was really a nice lady. She was really nice. She would always buy food and give it to people and always helping people. She was stabbed.
Obviously, someone had broken into the house, and when I talked with neighbors here, they indicated that this was not the first time that someone broke into the woman's house. Only 2 weeks ago, there was a similar occurrence.
But she caught him, and she said, "What you doing in here?" And he hunched his shoulders, and then he ran out the back door.
Did she ever say what he looked like?
She said that he was young. She said he smelled like reefer.
It's not known whether the attempted robber of 2 weeks ago was known to the woman or not. Police are still investigating the murder-arson case and so far have no suspects. The complications that caused the death of heart-lung transplant patient Michael Booyer will be explained tomorrow at a Johns Hopkins press conference. The 22-year-old Idaho man was pronounced dead last night at 10 p.m. from complications caused by a lung infection. Booyer, who was operated on 13 days ago, was the first person to undergo a heart-lung transplant at Hopkins. When we return, the story of a Baltimore woman who may owe her sight to a quick-thinking police officer. And David Paulson is standing by live at Dundalk Marine Terminal, where a ship with 3 Polish stowaways aboard just docked. That story when we return, so stay with us. Tonight, 3 Polish stowaways are hoping to find freedom in the United States. And right now, they're aboard a ship that just arrived at the Dundalk Marine Terminal. And David Paulson is standing by live at the terminal with more. David, I understand they just arrived a short time ago, right?
Just a few minutes ago, Frank, the Belgian cargo ship, the Dark Continent, docked here at the Dundalk Marine Terminal, berth number 13. Port officials here have already boarded the ship. Their story, of course, is one that's not entirely original, but interesting nonetheless. All 3 escaped Poland about a month ago, as far as we know, left differently, 2 of them using passports. A third one, reputed to be a yachtsman, was sailing outside the country at the time. They met up in Le Havre, France, boarded this ship November 21st. They did not identify themselves as stowaways to the ship's crew until about 30 hours after that. November 29th, they landed in New York, asked for asylum, were denied asylum by immigration authorities. Since then, they have been aboard the ship, sailing to Charleston, to Norfolk, and now to Baltimore. We understand that tonight they will be leaving for New York, where they will once again ask for asylum. They have been having a good time on the ship. I understand they have worked off the cost of their fare by painting the galley, all three of them, according to the captain of the ship, what he has told other people previously, according to reports. Have done a great job painting the galley, and we will be allowed to enter the ship just as soon as we finish this telecast, and we'll have more interviews and pictures of the three Polish stowaways hoping to become immigrants to America tonight at 11 o'clock. Frank?
So you will have a chance to maybe talk with them, maybe either directly or through an interpreter.
We understand right now that one of them speaks English slightly, the other two do not. There is no interpreter on board, but we'll be able to somehow communicate with them.
Okay, David, thank you very much. That was David Paulson reporting live from the Dundalk Marine Terminal. At the Greyhound bus terminal, striking employees may have reason to expect a happy Christmas. Last night, Greyhound and the union that represents its drivers and other employees reached a tentative settlement aimed at ending the strike, which has now lasted over a month. Mediator Kay McMurray said the striking drivers and other employees would not return to work until the agreement is ratified, probably by December 20th. Baltimore City school officials hope it won't take long to find a new director of special education programs. A nationwide search is now on for a replacement to the current director, Nora Cartledge-Cheek, and she has requested reassignment following an illness. The deadline for the applications, by the way, is January the 5th. Long before that, needy families in the Baltimore metropolitan area will be able to receive surplus federal food. Local governments will be distributing the food to the needy over the next few weeks. Officials say supplies will be limited to those who receive food stamps, Medicaid, welfare, or aid to families with dependent children. In addition, people getting supplemental security income or who have a household less than 150% of the federal poverty guidelines will also be eligible. A Baltimore woman has a Baltimore City police officer to thank for saving her sight this evening. 27-year-old Pat Nelson was working at a Foodorama when she reached for a bottle of liquid drain cleaner, apparently without its cap on, spilling the acid on her face and eyes. An officer on patrol in the area explained what happened when he heard her scream.
It started burning. She started screaming. She was in severe pain. And when I saw this, the only thing I could think of was to keep her hands away from the area that was damaged. And I put a bear lock on her. I just grabbed her around the chest area and held her, forced her hands and arms to her side. And she was very hard to control because she was hysterical.
The officer then dragged Nelson to the back, where he and the assistant store manager doused her in water. Doctors at Johns Hopkins Wilmer Eye Clinic say their quick action prevented Nelson from losing her sight. And congratulations to both of them. When we come back, Ron Riley joins us for the weekend weather, or rather the week ahead weather. We already have the weekend weather. And it was Christmas in Handon as its annual parade passed through. We'll take you there when we come back. And now here's Ron Riley and his AccuWeather forecast. I saw a lot of those parade goers kind of bundled up today, no wonder.
It was cool, but, well, it wasn't a picture postcard day by any stretch of the imagination. But at least the rain stopped to give everybody a good look at the football game and, of course, a good look at the parade. Indeed. A little humidity hanging around, but it did get kind of wet. Matter of fact, nothing dramatic happened over most of the nation with the exception of some wetness up in New England and some snow in New York. Tell you more about that in a bit. Let's look at the current stats, see where things are right now. It's 42 degrees and the humidity is 82. Our winds are 8 miles an hour. They're coming in from the northwest and the barometer is rising. Tides high and low. Fort McHenry, next one's coming up. Our sun rises tomorrow at 7:10 and sets at 4:44. Well, it did get up to 47 degrees for our high today, and there's the old water coming down the creek shot. And, well, it should be. There was enough water last night. We really had a lot of rain. Started, of course, as sleet before midnight. Ended up with some relatively heavy rain in our area after midnight. Got about 1 1/4 inch, to be exact, 1.29 inches officially measured at BWI, but it's on its way out. National Radar Summary will show you what we mean as we take a look at Sky Eye, and here is the low pressure center that was above us yesterday and brought us a lot of rain and a lot of precipitation, all moving up the coast. The low is just off the coast of New Jersey right now, and it's again bringing some snow into inland New York, a lot of rain along the whole coastline, and they're getting a great deal of snow up in New England, which is very good for the ski operators. Nothing much happening, though, to the west, although there is an approaching system beginning to develop which should spread some snow from Illinois back to Kansas for tomorrow. How's that going to affect us? Well, I'll tell you, it may get wet again by the middle of the week. Here's our map for tonight, and we can get an indication of where temperatures are standing right now. 42, as we said, in Baltimore, 44 at Washington, and 37 up in Harrisburg, cooling down. Dover is 46 degrees over the eastern shore. It's, well, get away out from the eastern shore. It's 48 degrees in Salisbury. What are you going to do? It's the end of the week, right? 36 in Martinsburg and 36 the current reading in Cumberland. And here's our satellite picture, and you'll see there are a lot of clouds, but they're beginning to thin out over us. Behind it, a nice high-pressure system, which is back in Louisiana, moving in our direction. It should be strong enough to break the clouds up a little later on tonight, so we are calling for gradual clearing tonight. There may be some patchy fog in some areas, though. Temperatures in our area will get down to 36. The surface map for tomorrow will show you a nice big fat sunshine over our area, and there it is. It means, well, a day or two late, but it is going to be a sunny day tomorrow. Here's the approaching storm system with some snow stretched from the upper Midwest all the way back down to the panhandle of Texas. It's going to end up as rain for us and probably by late on Tuesday or early on Wednesday. So the 5-day forecast from AccuWeather is for sunny skies tomorrow. To be a very pleasant, mild day. As we said, patchy fog for tonight, but clearing. 58 degrees tomorrow. Rain likely coming in on Tuesday, 58, clearing for Wednesday, sunny for Thursday, and clouds again for Friday. Frank?
Ron, well, many of you may have found making your way down Falls Road less than simple this afternoon. The annual Hamden Christmas Parade had the right-of-way as it ushered in the Christmas spirit. The parade, sponsored by the mayor's office, may have detoured traffic for a while, but as parades will do, it did entertain thousands of onlookers from Hamden and other parts of the city alike. Well, when we come back, Ronnie Duncan is here with all the exciting Colts action today as the Colts take on the Jets here at home. Highlights when we return, so stay with us. Well, Ronnie Duncan is here now, and he tells me that for once in the last several weeks anyway, we're not getting blown out.
I think you said it. The Colts aren't getting blown out when you consider the offense of Richard Todd and the New York Jets. But right now, the Colts and the Jets are battling out at the stadium. The game is in the fourth quarter. The Colts are losing 10-6, and the Jets, well, it's been a game of turnovers and some good defense. First quarter action, Mike Pago hands off to Randy McMillan. Now, McMillan runs wide on the right-hand side, but he's hit hard, causing a fumble. Jets ball. Richard Todd trying to pay the Colts back for those statements made earlier this week. He goes long, only to be intercepted by Tate Randall on the 1-yard line. Now watch the disciplined run by Randall as he goes to the Colts' 42-yard line. This is a guy who's replacing Derek Hatchett, and he has been a very fine acquisition for the Colts. Colts couldn't move the ball. The Jets on the Colt 14. Todd rolls out. It's Randall again with the deflection. The old eyes behind the head. Okay. Well, second quarter action. Colts in excellent field position after Pago to Curtis Dickey. Now watch the scramble on the run. Curtis Dickey makes it all the way to the 35, setting up the Colts' only score in the first half on this Raul Allegra field goal. 27 yards out. It's 3-3. It's all tied up for the Colts. Now Todd finally caught up with the Colts. He lobs his pass to Freeman McNeil. Put the Jets on top 10-3. That's the way it stood until halftime. The Colts tightened up a 42-yarder by Raul Allegre. I tell you, went by the foot, you die by the foot. Now, the Colts played some good defense. Now, watch this move. Richard Todd back the pass, looking for a receiver, but the ball is intercepted by Larry Anderson. What a nice grab, intended for Freeman McNeil. He brings the ball out, and this puts the Colts on the 40-yard line. Now, everyone has talked about Curtis Dickey. What can he do and what can he not do? Well, my good buddy, when he goes, he can run. Watch him fly 60 yards straight up the middle to the 4-yard line. Run, Curtis, run. Now, you thought the Colts were staging a comeback? Well, it was all for naught. Mike Pago out the pass, but he's intercepted, and that's the way it stood. Well, in Washington, here we are, the Redskins win. That was Didier from 18 yards out from Joe Theismann. Joe Theismann had a big day, passing for 3 touchdowns for 221 yards. This one 35 yards out to Ricky Walker, which set up Mark Mosley's field goal. With the Skins on top 10-0 in the second quarter, Theismann again to Joe Washington. 11 yards out, 17-0 Skins. The Skins led at half 20-0, went up by 7 more. Watch the fumble recovery pick up by Mel Kaufman. He returns it from the 30-yard line. The guy could run, and that's exactly why the Skins will probably be in the Super Bowl. But a day wouldn't be complete without a Theismann to Art Monk connection. This one 10 yards out. And what about this gang, the Washington Redskins? Hey, when you want to have fun in Washington, it's party time. So let's have a little fun bunch. Ready, fellas? 1, 2, 3, get up there. Party time as the Skins win easily over the Falcons, 37-21. Let's take a look at the scores in the NFL. Well, the Colts are losing right now in the fourth quarter, 10-6 to the New York Jets. The Dolphins win. The Bills do it to the Chiefs, 14-9. The Patriots in the snow, 7-0 over New Orleans. The Bengals win, upset Pittsburgh 23-10. Now, John Elway is having his best game as a pro as Denver is beating Cleveland 24-6. It is Dallas leading in the third. The Skins win 37-21. St. Louis 10, New York Giants 6. The Eagles upset the Rams 13-9. The Packers win 31-28 over Chicago. That was an excellent game. The 49ers are leading right now in the third. And Monday Night Football here on Channel 13, it will be the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. You knew it was going to happen. You just didn't know when. Billy Martin, well, we still don't know, but the reports are out of New York that Billy Martin may be fired by Yankee owner George Steinbrenner as early as Tuesday. It's been a rocky romance in the Big Apple. Let's stay tuned to find out what will happen. Well, we do know exactly what's going to happen with the Blast. They're going to be looking for their third win in a row tonight at the Civic Center when they take on the Buffalo Stallions at 7:35. Now, the chemistry looks like it's finally beginning to pay off for the new acquisition of Stan the Man Stomankovich, Paul Kitson, and Ray Kunevats, and Juan Carlos Machia, as well as Zay Marie. Now, Coach Kenny Cooper has hoped that these individuals will provide the extra superstar-type players that is needed for a championship. Well, no problem last night for Coach Lefty Driesell and his Maryland Terps as they rolled over Canisius 77-55. Let's take a look at the action. A little razzle-dazzle in the first quarter by Jeff Atkins. Reverse layup, 2 of his 14 points. Sophomore Len Bias with the excellent move inside the lane for the one-hander. Now watch the shot by Adrian Branch. It's all bottom from 17 feet out. The guy can play. Inside is Ben Coleman. The shot is no good. Watch the tip in. The guy follows it in. Now here's the play of the game. You talk about a behind-the-back pass and a slam. Let's take a look at that again as Maryland won 77-55. Big win for the Bullets last night at the Capitol Center, beating the world defending champion Philadelphia 76ers 103-98. Ricky Sobers had 29 points. Shot at the buzzer by Mo Cheeks. Philly led at halftime 51-42. Bullets came back. Sobers from the baseline. Hey, this guy is really nice. Now, Greg Ballard had 26 points on the night. This one inside the lane as the Bullets held off the 76ers 103-98. And hey, when it's beautiful, it's beautiful. The Skipjacks are on the road tonight when they take on St. Catherine's, looking to expand on their 14-5 record in the Southern Division of the AHL. Now, the Jacks are coming off a 5-4 victory over the Rochester Red Wings that happened on Friday. Some high school basketball this afternoon. Bob Wade got his Poets back on the winning track with a 64-54 victory over Lake Clifton. And locally, Robin Oliver, freshman grad from guard, that is, not grad, but freshman guard from Bowie State College, has been named the Rookie of the Week in the Intercollegiate Athletic Association. She had 36 points. She's a graduate of Forest Park High School. And as they say, that's a look at sports. If you can't be a good sport, don't play. Back to you, Frank.
And Ronnie, I just came back from your office, and I found out the Colts are threatening. They're on the 7-yard line of the Jets with only 48 seconds to go, so let's keep our fingers crossed.
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Thank you very much. So you can't find the elusive Cabbage Patch doll in your local stores. Well, don't despair just yet. Some frustrated people in Detroit are finding out you can always make your own.
The response to the workshop was predictable. The House of Fabrics in Royal Oak was jammed this morning with people waiting to buy material to make their own Cabbage Patch-like dolls. And this reportedly is the only store around that has the materials, all listed for sale above the counter. Bonnie Sawyers, a doll maker and sewing instructor, conducted today's workshop and says the dolls are not expensive if you make your own, but could be a little difficult for the beginning sewer. She says the basic instructions are all right here in the Tiny Tots doll making book.
It's something that takes a little time, a lot of patience, but it's a lot of fun and well worth the effort. It costs about $20 per doll for your first doll. After that, you can make one for about $10. I spend 12 to 15 hours per doll, depending on the hairstyle and the features.
Now, Detroit area citizens who missed today's workshop need not despair. If the Cabbage Patch craze continues, the House of Fabrics has generously agreed to host 6-week courses starting in January to teach others this doll-making technique.
The price, $24 plus materials, and this little fella tells me that's quite a bargain.
From Detroit, this is Buzz Luttrell reporting for ABC News.
And that's our report to the moment for the entire Eyewitness News team. I'm Frank Luber, back tonight at 11, right after the Sunday night movie, Heart of Steel. At least 8 Marines die in Lebanon, and U.S. fighter jets bomb Syrian positions for the first time. 3 Polish stowaways look for freedom in the U.S. Dave Paulson tells of their journey to Baltimore. 4 inmates from the Baltimore City Jail are still at large, including the suspect in the murder of a Pimlico couple. And to the blast, Buffalo, the Buffalo Stallions. Good evening, I'm Frank Luber with Ronnie Duncan and Ron Riley for all the night's top news stories. Eyewitness News is next.
WJZ TV, Baltimore.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Frank Luber. Debbie Wright is on vacation. Tonight, the already tense situation in Lebanon has escalated once again for U.S. Marines stationed there. 8 Marines were killed when Syria attacked U.S. positions in Beirut. That's after the U.S. fired for the first time on Syrian positions in Lebanon on orders from President Reagan. The attack was in response to Syria's attack on unarmed U.S. surveillance jets.
We haven't fired at anyone unless it has been to return fire against attacks made upon our forces. Yes, if our forces are attacked, we will respond. We're going to defend our personnel that is there.
Tonight, Maryland Congressman Roy Dyson said those U.S. attacks on Syrian positions should have happened a long time ago, before 239 servicemen were killed at the Marine headquarters in Beirut. 3 Polish stowaways are facing a different kind of fight tonight, a fight for freedom. The 3 stowed away on a cargo ship 2 weeks ago, and tonight that ship sailed into Dundalk's Marine Terminal. David Paulson was allowed to board the ship and has this report.
Baltimore is the 4th U.S. port for the Belgian cargo ship Dark Continent. Aboard are 3 Polish stowaways who can't leave just yet. The 3 Poles boarded the Dark Continent in Le Havre, France, hiding in a small closet near a chimney. A small room that afforded them the unlikely luxury of being both extremely hot and extremely cold at the same time. After 30 hours at sea, they left the closet and turned themselves into ship's officers. Political asylum in the U.S. was their explanation for stowing away, a request that was denied temporarily by immigration when the ship reached New York 8 days later.
We think that the United States is the only country in the world when we can find safe refugee far away from communism. You understand this?
Only Wojtek Pankanin speaks English. He does so difficultly. Like Shishwa Obluski and Lech Bruski, Wojtek has tried and failed to stow away before. Until 3 months ago, they were all strangers who met by accident after leaving Poland and their families behind, perhaps forever.
We have left our family in Poland, but only parents, brothers and sisters.
There are no wives or children to worry about. All say they were active politically in the Solidarity Workers Union. All say they were persecuted because of it.
You had been arrested?
Yes.
You had been beaten?
Yes.
Tomorrow they will be in New York when immigration officials may have an answer on their request for political asylum. They started a hunger strike 2 days ago to emphasize that desire, not, they say, to embarrass the U.S. government. For now, they are willing and anxious prisoners aboard ship, hoping it won't have to take them across the ocean again. At the Dundalk Marine Terminal with Instant Eye, David Paulson, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
And tonight, a local Polish organization in Baltimore told us that they will contact immigration authorities in New York to offer housing and sponsorship for the Polish stowaways. In fact, they plan to go to New York tomorrow night to make that appeal in person. In another escape to freedom, 4 city jail inmates are still at large tonight. The 4 broke out last night, and police say they apparently got free by pretending to be part of a religious group visiting the jail. Police say a gate guard apparently did not check the group as it left.
They discovered that the bars had been cut with some sort of instrument. They haven't been able to locate that right now. And they escaped by, we assume, going across the roof and down the tower wall and through the gate area.
The 4 escapees are Moses Taylor, George Miller, Kevin Johnson, and Marvin Booth. And police say that all 4 are said to be very dangerous. Well, whatever it was that was causing bizarre behavior last night wasn't confined to prisons here. A 21-year-old woman was found shot to death outside a church in the 3400 block Liberty Heights Avenue. Police say Beatrice Taylor, the mother of a 3-year-old, was shot in the head. She also may have been sexually attacked. If you have any information about her murder, call homicide at 396-2721. That's 396-2721. Police are still looking for the killer of another woman last night on Homer Avenue in Pimlico. The victim, Cora Jones, about 72, was stabbed to death by an intruder who then set fire to her house to conceal the crime. Neighbors thought she had died in the fire and were shocked to learn she had been murdered.
No. No, I wasn't aware of that. She was stabbed. No, I wasn't aware.
Also told me the woman's home was broken into 2 weeks ago and that she had caught a man in the act.
And she said, "What you doing in here?" And he hunched his shoulders and then he ran out the back door.
Did she ever say what he looked like?
She said that he was young. She said he smelled like reefer.
Whether the attempted robbery of 2 weeks ago is related to the murder of the woman last night is not known this evening. Well, it could have been a disaster for a Baltimore City woman, but it wasn't, thanks to an alert police officer. 27-year-old Pat Nelson was working at the Foodorama when she tried to take a bottle of drain cleaner off a shelf. The cap apparently was not tightly fastened, and the acid spilled on her face and eyes. That's when City Officer Charlie George came to her rescue.
By the time Charlie Stewart came to the back, he'd got the garden hose, and I told him to turn the cold water on the garden hose and just squirt both of us. You know, because I was there. I said, squirt her from the head down. I says, it's important that we get her eyes taken care of because it's in her eyes.
Doctors at Johns Hopkins Wilmer Eye Clinic say the fast work of Officer George helped save Nelson's sight. When we come back, some technical wizardry is in store for the Space Shuttle crew and some world leaders tomorrow. And southern nights are filled with cleanup efforts as a tornado whips through Alabama. Details when we return. Tonight, a deadly tornado is the latest disaster born of the bad weather that has plagued much of the South in recent days. The twister swept through a shopping center in Oxford, Alabama last night, killing 2 women and injuring 46 others. Many of the injured were trapped when the tornado caused the roof of a Winn-Dixie store to collapse and knocked down 3 of the store's 4 walls.
Our assistant manager said everybody hit the ground, and we did, and the whole building just caved in on us.
That's the first one I ever been in, and it's the last one I want to be in.
There's no respite on the horizon. Heavy rains are expected in the area tomorrow once again. The dark clouds that have been hanging over negotiations between Greyhound and its striking employees may be clearing tonight with yesterday's tentative agreement. But in spite of that, there were problems in Detroit stemming from Greyhound's decision to continue hiring new drivers to replace the striking drivers. Police had to be called when picketers attempted to interfere with job applicants who showed up at the Detroit terminal. There were no reported arrests. Well, the Christmas season may bring some timely aid to some of Baltimore's needy families. The local governments in the Baltimore metropolitan area will be distributing surplus food over the next few weeks. Those who will be eligible to receive the surplus food include people receiving food stamps, Medicaid, welfare, or aid to families with dependent children. Also eligible are people with supplemental security income, or those with a household income less than 150% of the federal poverty guidelines. Some East Baltimoreans are finding another way to cope with the burden of hard economic times. Bartering, they call it. In a program sponsored by the Julie Community Center, the oldest form of economy is being reestablished, according to an East Baltimore woman. Margaret Locklear, when someone has a skill, she says someone else will barter that skill with the other person. The community center acts as an exchange bank of goods and services, and residents say it's brought them a lot closer together. In outer space, it was anything but a day of rest for the astronauts aboard Space Shuttle Columbia. They performed important repairs, enabling them to continue experiments aboard the Space Lab, and had a conversation with royalty. In the past week, local ham radio operators have been trying to make contact with the shuttle, but today it was King Hussein of Jordan who finally got through.
We're very, very excited about this fast contact with Columbia. Thank you very much.
The scientists and astronauts also managed to repair a number of items, ranging from jammed camera film cassettes.
And NASA spent the day testing its myriad of communication systems for a conference call tomorrow that will connect the astronauts with President Reagan and West German Chancellor Helmut Kohl. The system includes using 5 satellites, and that's quite a feat indeed. And when we return, Ron Riley bets his bottom dollar that the sun will come out tomorrow. And the address book of a famous star brings in big bucks at an auction, so stay with us. Ron Riley now with the AccuWeather forecast. Sure, we've had a little bit of rain over the last couple of days. We had some cold weather, but nothing like they've had in the south. They didn't have the cold weather, but the rain.
No, they really had some really tornadoes, and this low pressure center that was over us is really intensifying off the New Jersey coast right now. They get a lot of snow up in that area, which of course is going to make a lot of the ski enthusiasts very happy. Great deal of snow back in New York State, actually, not New York City. They're getting more rain there. In portions of New Hampshire and Vermont, anywhere between 8 to 12 inches of snow. And of course, snow has been falling for a long time back in the Rockies and the Cascades. So if you're planning a winter ski vacation someplace, it probably will be pretty good conditions. Let's look at our conditions right now. We have a 42-degree temperature reading on good old TV Hill. An 8-mile-an-hour west-northwesterly wind, humidity at 82, and the barometer is beginning to rise again. That's good news as the low pressure moves away, the high moves this away. Low and high tides at Fort McHenry, and our sunrise and sunset for the beginning of the week tomorrow. While our Ensign cruise out Park Avenue, beginning to look a lot like Christmas. We had a high today of 47 degrees. Was a gloomy day today, wasn't it? but high pressure is beginning to move in. Clouds above us right now. They'll begin to break up a little bit. Should dawn to a good day tomorrow. Around the state, here's the way the temperatures look as of the moment. Besides our 42-degree readings, 47 in D.C., 37 up in Harrisburg. Temperatures haven't changed much since our earlier news tonight. 36 in Cumberland and Martinsburg, and still 53 degrees down in Charlottesville, Virginia. Well, we'll take an astronaut's eye view of the good old Earth at this time. And you can see down here in portions of South America, it's beginning to be summertime. They had 95 degrees in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil today, and 75 degrees in Buenos Aires, Argentina, 77 degrees in Bogota, Colombia. Meanwhile, for us, it's beginning to clear up. Here's the system that was on top of us yesterday and brought us 1.25 inches of rain, moving up the coastline right now. And this is another system moving in. We'll be stretching some snow between Illinois and Kansas tomorrow. Light rain over portions of northern California. On the surface, it'll look like this. As the center begins moving towards us, we'll still have sunshine for tomorrow, but there are some snowflakes embedded in this. The snow, though, for the most part associated with this low pressure will be gone, and most of the East Coast should have sunny skies as the high pressure begins to intensify tomorrow. This will bring us rain, though, by the time we get to Tuesday. We have a look at some of the high temperatures for tomorrow. We'll say the 20s up in most portions of Canada, the 30s as you get to the middle portion of the United States, into the 60s out in California, banding around down in Texas, 70s, 80s will be the warm spot, and that'll be down in Florida, and for us, basically in the 50s. Here's the 5-day forecast from AccuWeather. 58 degrees, very close to 60, a nice sunny day. It'll start off with a chill, though, so you probably take a sweater jacket along with you, but it'll warm up midday. 58 with rain on Tuesday, clearing for Wednesday, sun for Thursday, cloudy for Friday. As you awaken in the morning, we'll have a temperature of 37 degrees, partly sunny skies, giving way to lots of sunshine, and don't forget, 20 more shopping days till Christmas. Frank, did you buy my present yet?
Well, I'm working on it. Well, how much would you pay for an address book? You say $2, maybe $3. Well, how about $7,000, maybe even more? That's what one man paid for the privilege of owning Marilyn Monroe's personal address book. $7,250 to be exact was spent for the Blonde Bombshells book at a Los Angeles auction. The address book will soon be seen in local bookstores. And by the way, one of the entries includes a reminder to call Jack. Could be interesting. When we return, Ronnie Duncan is here with the highlights of a really good Colt try against the Jets, and he'll have locker room reaction, and the Blast are bullish against the Buffalo Stallions. And Ronnie has more on that game when we return. Well, it was close, but no cigar for the Baltimore Colts today. But Ronnie Duncan says they're lighting up a few stogies at the Civic Center this evening.
As they say in life, not close enough. There's some good home cooking when it comes to the Blast, though. They won their last 4 games in a row. 3 of them had been at home after tonight's 7-4 victory over the Buffalo Stallions. Let's pick up the action in the second quarter. Hines Worth with the unassisted goal. He puts the Blast on top 3-2. They were tied up at that point, but hey, Hines came through. Hervé Gilliard for Buffalo. He puts it right in. Jim Pollahan, look at the look on Pollahan's face. He can't believe what's going on. Adrian Brooks made it 4-3 for the Blast. Now watch this shot. I tell you, when it boomerangs, it boomerangs. You talk about the magic man, well, it comes through. Now watch the assist by Mangione to Stamajkovic. And man, this guy can roll with the best of Blast on top 5-3. Hines Worth will get 2 unassisted goals. Now, that's 1. Seconds later, can you believe it? He does it again. As the Blast score on to beat the Buffalo Stallions 7-4. Let's take a look at the MISL scoreboard.